Hello friends, how are you? I wanted to share a few of my favorites from this year, and I thought it would be fun to expand beyond Korean skincare into all of the cozy finds from this year. So tech, books, dramas, and all of the cozy things. So if that sounds like your thing, then grab your cozy cup of coffee or tea and join me in our first cozy chat of the year. So starting with skincare and beauty, I'll go through the section relatively quickly. These are the ones in particular that just had that wow factor for me last year and the ones that I continue to use on the daily. The first is probably not a shocker since I talk about these quite frequently in my videos. They are Skinfood's Carotene Calming Water Pads. There were so many good toner pads I've tried this year, but hands down, the Skinfood Carotene ones have my heart. I just keep going back to this one, and there are a few reasons why. First is because of their size. They're significantly larger than many of the toner pads I've tried, which makes them great to use as a mask. They're also significantly thicker than most toner pads, which allows for more soaking of the product, which again makes it great to use as a mask or simply to use all over your face and neck. So I'll use this often in place of a cleanser in the morning, just as something to gently remove the debris from the night. My next favorite I want to talk about is from Pyunkang. It's their Calming Moisture Barrier Cream. Now this was a hard pick because there were a lot of great moisturizers I tried this year, but when I thought about the moisturizer that I used the most this year in terms of affordability, it's always nice to have this one. It's just a nice no-nonsense cream. I feel like I always go back to this one, especially in the spring and summer. It's soothing, it's lightweight, it has no fragrance, and something that won't break the bank. The next two products are in the cleansing category. The first one I want to talk about is from Oganacell. It's their Actiome cleanser. Now this brand was such a surprise. I had never heard of them before, but this line in particular was formulated specifically for sensitive skin with a team of dermatologists, and I think they actually have a few clinics in Seoul. Now they are a little bit pricier, but if you're looking for a splurge for your skin, I actually feel like this one, as well as the gel cream, is worth the spend. Now the cleanser contains lactic acid, a gentle AHA exfoliant, and probiotic beads for supporting the skin barrier while cleansing. Now the only con I would say is that this, along with the gel cream, often seem to be out of stock. So if you can snag it, I would say they're worth the try. So the next two products I want to talk about actually fall in that more actives and exfoliants category. The first one is Paula's Choice 10% Azelaic Acid Booster. So earlier last year, I shared about my skin journey and insecurities that came with changes in my skin. And for most products, it takes time for those changes to really show. But with this one, I was surprised to see a noticeable difference even within a few days. And obviously this will vary depending on your skin type, but for me this was exactly what my skin needed at the time. So I'll start with the cons. It's again kind of pricey considering how much product is included. I've gone through several tubes of this, but with this, for some of my more angry, irritated acne, as well as those smaller bumps that I had been struggling with for months, they seem to calm down so quickly after using this. Upon first application, it did have this slight sort of tingly sensation, but nothing super irritating. This one is also formulated with salicylic acid, which felt really gentle and exfoliating and great for those clogged bumps and texture on my skin. Another exfoliant that I loved was Beauty of Joseon's Apricot Blossom Peeling Gel. This one is more of a physical exfoliant, and so many of the exfoliants I've tried this year felt either too harsh or drying for my skin. I've talked about this one in quite a few of my videos, but I just love that gommage texture. I find it way less irritating than something coarse like a scrub, and I use this about once a week now, and my skin just feels so soft and smooth after using it. So really love this one. The next one I want to talk about is from Aoyama. It's their Care Plus Acne Cover Patches. I came across these on our last trip to Korea while shopping at Aoyama, and it has hydrocolloid in the middle and multiple sizes, which makes it really convenient to use. What I love about these, and I'll show a comparison, but these have a really thin edge to them, which makes it more inconspicuous when wearing them throughout the day. I try to keep them on for a whole day, and often even by the next day, that skin plug comes off with the sticker, and it's just so gross and so satisfying. This last product I want to talk about in this category is from a Korean brand called Hince. It's their True Dimension Radiance Balm. It's basically a highlighter in a stick, and I actually got this 2 years ago while I was in Korea, but This one is in their clear shade, and I love using this on top of my blush for that nice, natural sort of dewy look without glitter and too much grease. What I also love is that I never really have too much issue with this removing my makeup when I'm applying it. You can also apply it to your wrist first while melting the product, and then you have more control when you're tapping it into the areas you want without dealing with too much transfer. So a little tip there, but highly recommend checking this one out. It's really cute and just love using it for that more natural sort of look. I have been wanting to expand to other categories beyond Korean skincare. One of them is tech. So some of my most favorite are in this category. The first is the Sony headphones. These are still one of the best purchases of all time. I use these every day. They're super comfortable, super cute aesthetically. I did want to give sort of an update on how they've held up because I have had these for the past 2 years, and they do, with the exception of a few scratches on the exterior, I feel like they've really held up and they work great. I love using these for that surround sound kind of experience, especially when I need to lock in on a project or wind down without other sort of distracting external noises. They're super comfortable to wear for long periods of time. You can definitely walk in these, but I would say working out or jogging with these, that's when it gets a little tough. They do seem to slip off or just really get sweaty around the ears, but for stationary work, these are my absolute go-to. So if I were to give an award for the best purchase of this past year, it would go to this one. This is the Fujifilm X100VI. This has single-handedly re-sparked my love for photography and videography. I got this in the summer and I've been bringing it with me on travels ever since. I brought it to Barcelona, Italy, and all throughout Washington. And there are a few reasons why I absolutely love it. It's compact, it's lightweight, which makes it really nice to bring, especially when you're on the go. And in addition, the capabilities of this camera are just amazing. So whether you're a beginner looking to get into photography or a seasoned photographer, I feel like this camera is really special. The ability to just be free to capture the moment without having to worry about the settings a whole lot and those extra lenses. I actually did a lot of research before investing into this camera, and what I found consistently was that even seasoned photographers loved adding this camera to their collection. And on top of that, the color that you get on a Fujifilm camera is just so beautiful. It's also really fun to play with their film simulations. You can actually go to Fujifilm's website and find recipes to add to your camera. It is a fixed lens, meaning the lens is permanently attached to the body. So as an amateur photographer who's trying to better my skills, it really forces you to improve the composition. But I would imagine this wouldn't be practical in all situations, especially for work. But for really enjoying and capturing the moment, I just love this camera. So the last category is sort of a catch-all of all of my favorite cozy finds from this year. So books, shows, treats, and creators that I just love that share that sort of slice of life, slow living, cozy vibe. So the first category I want to talk about is books and dramas. So you know how they say books have a way of finding you when you most need them, and I feel like this book in particular was one that I really needed for this season of life. It is by Michiko Aoyama. It's What You Are Looking For Is in the Library. It's a book about 5 different characters and their sort of slice of life stories as they share their everyday struggles and thoughts. Eventually, each character kind of finds their way into this library where they meet a very mysterious librarian who has this special talent of recommending a surprising book that brings them closer to what they're actually looking for in life. Now, what I love especially about this book is that although each character seems so different on the outside, it was easy to find myself in each of their stories, either through what they were going through or what they were thinking. And I also just loved how the author sort of interwove the different characters and their stories together. It's the ultimate cozy comfort book, and I would recommend this to anyone. Continuing along the same genre of cozy content, a drama that I stumbled upon that I absolutely loved was on Netflix. It was called Would You Like a Cup of Coffee? Now this is actually an older drama. It's from 2021, where the story begins with a man who feels really lost in life and stumbles upon a coffee shop and has a special encounter with a cup of coffee that really changes his life. So he decides he wants to learn how to make such a fantastic cup of coffee from this coffee shop owner, and eventually he forms a special relationship with him as well as the customers who find their way into this coffee shop. Now I don't know how else to explain it, but this drama felt like home. It has a very similar concept to What You're Looking For Is in the Library, where each episode kind of focuses on one of the customers and their struggles and the reflection that they face in everyday life. And for some reason, it really reminded me of my time living in Korea and why I appreciated having that like one special third space to come to, a place where you feel like you belong and a place for connection. I laughed, I cried, I felt so seen in this drama, and I saw it during a time where I felt a little lost in my direction. So this story made me look sort of at life again in those details. I feel like this drama is so underrated and definitely worth a watch for your cozy night in. Going along with the cozy vibes, my favorite cozy treat from 2024 was actually this sweet potato bread. It's just so unique, and I'm actually really curious about the technology it took to make something like this. So the outside literally looks like a sweet potato. It has this crispy outer sort of layer, which I don't know how they're able to make that texture, but then you taste the inside and it has this delicious thin mochi layer. And then the middle is what tastes like an actual sweet potato, not even a custard sort of sweet potato, but like what you would find in a sweet potato inside. It's the perfect Asian treat. It's sweet, but not too sweet. And you got that mix of textures. I got this at my local Korean mart, and if you happen to find it, grab it and thank me later. So the second to last category I want to talk about is a cozy creator. I really want to start using this platform to also highlight creators that I think deserve more attention. And this creator, or creators I should say, they are a couple by the name of Bapmukjago on YouTube. I actually found them originally on Instagram, but they just have the coziest and wholesome vibe. They are an older Korean couple living in the Philippines, and they create different types of traditional food, including Filipino food and Korean food. And the food always looks so delicious. The way it's shot is so cinematic, but also it feels like you're watching your parents prepare a home-cooked meal. The way they relate to each other is just so sweet. It gives you the warm fuzzies just watching them. It's just so comforting. And I just want everyone to check them out because they're so lovely. So my last favorite I want to share with you is a cozy journal prompt that helped me throughout a lot of last year. It was a year, honestly, of feeling pretty lost and doubtful in my direction. I'm now in my early 30s, and for most of this year, I feel like I've obsessed over trying to figure out my purpose and just felt this sort of increasing sense of urgency or just anxious energy, really. And despite trying a lot of things, I felt that way. But a question, or more so an exercise that helped me bring me back to the present, was listing 10 things I noticed in the moment. So you can start with a list format, or you can go more in depth to writing these things. But the challenge is to write 10 things you notice, and perhaps increasingly writing down less obvious things. So this can take 5 minutes, it can take 15 minutes, but the goal is sort of to get yourself out of your head and onto paper. For example, if I'm working at a cafe, I'll take some time to look at the people around me, notice their emotions on their faces, or the way the light dances on the floor, or the way the leaves on the trees sort of sway with the wind. I really love this exercise. I thought I would share it with you in case you find yourself in a similar spot at the beginning of this year. And that is all I have for today's video. I also just want to take a minute to thank you so much for sticking with me through this past year. I shared a little bit in this video, but I did have a few months towards the end of the year where I felt just in a funk, and frankly a little disappointed for not being able to do more. But I know that creating videos here has always served as an outlet to sort of get out of my head and connect and express my thoughts and connect with you. So I'm hoping to try a few different formats of videos here aside from skincare, some more sort of slice of life reflective bits. So look forward to that. I am just so grateful to read your comments from all over the world, from old and new friends. So I just want to thank you so much for this past year. And if you have a favorite cozy recommendation you want to share, please let me know in the comments. I must know. And if you like this video and are interested in continuing a monthly series, I would be so grateful if you could like and comment on this video. As always, I'm wishing you so much love for this new year and this new week ahead, and I will see you in the next video.